Hi, I'm Captain Scott Larson, Negotiating Committee Chairman for the FedEx Master Executive Council. Today I'd like to talk to you about how the 767 will be staffed and the staffing ratios that are in the LOA and how those staffing ratios work. As part of our research in the 767 coming on the property, we looked at various staffing models and how we could properly achieve our goal of protecting wide-body flying and honoring seniority. The method that we came up with is using scheduled credit hours and the number of pilots that are in each seat. The 767 LOA staffing ratios are as follows, and this will be for each crew seat. So let's just take the 767 captain for our example. The formula is as follows. We take 767 scheduled credit hours and we divide it by the sum of the 757 scheduled credit hours and the 767 scheduled credit hours. That formula gives us our scheduled credit hour ratio. For our second formula is the crew ratio, and to get that is very similar. We take the number of 767 captains and we divide it by the sum of the 757 captains and the 767 captains. That gives us our crew ratio. To achieve our minimum staffing level, we take the sum of the 757 captains and the 767 captains and multiply it by the scheduling ratio, and that's the minimum staffing level for the 767 aircraft. I've got two examples for you to use in working through these formulas. Example 1, 757 scheduled credit hours are 10,800. The 767 scheduled credit hours are 3,000. The combined scheduled credit hours are 13,800. There are 150 757 captains and 50 767 captains, for a combined total of 200 captains in the two airplanes. Here's how the ratio works. We take 3,000 and divide by 13,800. That gives us a 0.217 or 21.7% scheduled credit hour ratio. We then take 50 and divide it by 200. That gives us 0.25 or 25% crew ratio. We then take the 200 and multiply it by the 0.217 and gives us a staffing level of 43. The staffing level is above the minimum staffing level in this example. Example 2, 757 scheduled credit hours are 10,800. 767 scheduled credit hours are 4,000. So the combined scheduled credit hours are 14,800. We have the same number of captains. 757 has 150, the 767 has 50. Combined captains in both airplanes, 200. So now we take 4,000 and we divide it by 14,800, which gives us a scheduled credit hour ratio of 0.27. 50 divided by 200 gives us a crew ratio of 0.25. We take 200 and multiply it by the scheduled credit hour ratio of 0.27, and that gives us 54. In this scenario, the staffing is 4 below the minimum staffing level, requiring the company to publish 8 R-24 lines in the 757 bid period package at wide body pay rates for everything those pilots do for the month. All right, so let's take a look at the formula. The crew staffing formula is the number of 767 pilots divided by the sum of 757 pilots and 767 pilots. So if we subtract pilots from the 767 world above the line, that will cause the ratio to go down, resulting in more penalties in R-24 lines by the company. Likewise, if pilots are added to the 757 number below the line, it will also cause the ratio to go down, resulting in more R-24 line penalties being created in the 757 bid pack. One of the concerns we've heard about is the adequate staffing of the 767 reserves. So let's talk about that for a second here. The scheduled credit hours are a known number, and the manning in each seat are known numbers. If the company were to reduce the number of 767 pilots in order to have more 757 utilization with the reserves, the crew staffing ratio would skew and result in more penalties. Likewise, the addition of 757 pilots to the formula would skew the formula and add more penalties as well. The formula is based on the number of 767 pilots divided by the sum of 757 pilots and 767 pilots. The penalty R24 lines that are added to the 757 bid pack as a result of understaffing the 767 honor seniority because they'll be published in the bid pack. They'll be designated wide body for pay lines that'll then be bid on during the monthly bid by pilots in the 757. And the pilots that are awarded those penalty lines will get paid wide body pay rates commensurate with their longevity for everything they do for pay that month, whether it's RLG, training, vacation, draft, makeup, reserve, you name it, it's all at the wide body rates. In our opinion, the R24 penalty lines that are in the 757 bid pack are an adequate deterrent to keep the company from understaffing the 767. Let's go back to example 2. The company understaffed by 4, resulting in 8 penalty R24 lines that are paid at wide body pay for the entire month for everything. That's a pretty significant deterrent instead of just properly manning the fleet.